stuff on top of. A lot of people just kind of throw it on top of, but you'll smother the fire that way. And you want the wax kind of facing towards you, so you can light it easier, and it'll burn a lot better. And what you're going to want to do is, let's pretend like these are logs. These are your log type stick type stuff. This is just paper. This is tinder card. And then you're probably going to want to kind of, like if these are logs, the TP method is what I use normally, but I don't have any twigs with me right now. But if you can also just lay them across like that, and you're going to get more. And if there's a lot of bent sticks out there, but you can kind of make yourself, it's like a log cabin type of thing, and you can just kind of throw them over, and that'll burn pretty well. And then you start slowly building up on bigger stuff. It's like you're layering your clothes when you go camping. You want the thinner stuff closer to you, and then slowly build it up till it's thicker and thicker. And then once it gets going pretty well, you're probably going to want to start hunting logs on, split logs to full logs. And I've done some pretty big bonfires when I was camping before. I mean, you use a whole entire 3 foot long by 4 foot, 3 foot wide by 4 foot long log, and that would burn for quite a while. And so I'm just going to start this real quick. Let me get this done. There we go. Warm it up. I think my flint and steel's going out now, because in the middle of all this flint there's a little iron rod, and I think I've worked my way down there, so I don't know how much is left of this.
Maybe if you move the tinder card, just do it on the...
Yeah, I think I need some flint to help this get going, because I don't have I'm going to get a better flint and steel, but a lot of them, it's like a magnesium brick, and you have a flint rod on top of that, so you can kind of scrape magnesium in there and then strike the flint, and it'll burn real nice. But this one's kind of old, and I've had it for plenty of years now, and it's starting to like wear off and stuff, so I need to get new ones pretty soon.
And you're also trying to be careful as to where you're aiming it, since you're inside the house.
Yeah, I need to make sure I don't get on the carpet. You see me when I go camping. I get huge amounts of sparks, but they get everywhere.
Yes, which your mother appreciates, that you're not lighting the carpet on fire.
You see, I think it's starting to smother.
Yep, there it goes.
I can get this going up just there. There you go. Now it's going. But yeah, it's better. You got to make sure you don't burn yourself. Like I'm using my knife right now, and kind of covering it up so that I don't burn myself. Sometimes you do need to use your hands. Now I would blow on this to help get the fire going, but I'm indoors, and I've actually gone camping before where I could go over something and go and blow it, and stuff would fall over. And I've caught like around the fire pit on fire before, and we had to use like a couple gallons of water to dump it out. So you need to make sure you're being very careful. And you remember that when you're trying to practice this kind of stuff, you need to always have at least a fire extinguisher or a couple buckets of water. So this should burn for quite a while. If you have bigger stuff, this could burn like a permanent fire for overnight, like we've done before when I was going camping.
That's good.
Another good tinder is like alcohol swab type stuff, and those the hand wipies, and Germ-X. And I'm going to show you Germ-X in a little bit after I show you how to waterproof matches. And I'll come back to this in just a minute when this is all done and out, and I'll show you some more stuff. But this will burn for quite a while with the wax in there and then all the tinder cards. Those work pretty well.
Sounds good.
Okay, this thing has finally burnt itself out. It burned for quite a while. I kind of pushed it, like batted it down so it kind of go out a little bit quicker, because I didn't want to be sitting here for 3.5 hours waiting for it to finish burning. But now I'm going to show you how to waterproof some matches. And why you basically do that is you're just going to need that wax from a candle. And I'm using Strike Anywhere matches, and this should work. Anyways, you're going to blow out your candle, and then you're just going to dip them, your match heads, into the wax. And to make sure you get them covered nice and well. But you don't want to get any of the chunks of the wax, because that could cause problems. You make it a little bit harder to strike. And then when you're using a Strike Anywhere match, especially with stuff stuck on them, you're going to want to use like a rock, but not like a super smooth rock, because it's just going to slide around because the wax is on it. But once these are done drying, I should be able to strike them right here on the edge of this little pot. So it should work pretty well. Those are drying up. Anyways, I'm going to show you. I'm going to just dip them in this water right here. Shake most of it off so it's not still completely soaked. Now I should be able to strike this right here.
That might be too smooth still. Try it on the box anyway. I mean, it's a strike anywhere match, but I mean, let's...
Anyways, it got wet.
The point is that it still works.
But the wax on it will help it burn a little bit longer. As you can see, it's burning pretty bright. But I'll try it with this one. I'm going to completely submerge it as wet as it's going to get. Make sure it's all completely soaked and stuff. Get most of the water off, Okay, and I should be able to just strike this against here, and it's going to light, and it's going to be just good. I mean, technically, you're not going to be inside of a house where everything you happen to own is smooth except for a pot, so it should be pretty easy to light it. So, this works pretty well. And if you're worried about getting waterproof matches, because they're really expensive, that could be a bit of a problem. But if you do own waterproof matches, what I did is I had a box of waterproof matches, but I've used some of them, and I wanted to keep the box. I put Strike Anywhere matches inside of it with them. And then, if you notice that on Strike Anywhere matches, waterproof matches, if you kind of look at them, they are covered in wax, so you can kind of tell what they are. Now, these things are really hard to strike on their boxes, but as you can see, they burn pretty bright. I'm going to try this. I don't know if this is going to work or not. Get this to catch. Yeah, it didn't work. Some you can get stormproof matches, and they'll burn through that. You can dip them into the water, completely submerge them for about 5 minutes, and you can pull them up and they'll still be lit. They're pretty awesome, awesome matches. They burn for a long time. You can see it still burns wet. I think it burns better wet. It was easier to strike it. But it'll go out pretty soon because they're like safety matches, so they're covered so they won't burn all the way down the stick. They're not the greatest for starting a fire, but Strike Anywhere matches work probably the best. And there's also plenty of other kindling you can find, anything probably small. I'm going to show you with paper right here. Paper is actually probably harder to light because of how paper is made. But, out of these couple pieces of paper, I'm just going to dip one in some wax, because wax is kind of like an essential for starting a fire. So I have some wax. It looks kind of creepy. But anyways, I have some wax on there. Now, I'm not going to use my flint and steel because it's not cooperating right now. And I'm just going to show you right here real quick. If you're just going to light the piece of paper with the wax on it, just kind of build it up a bit so it'll burn for a couple seconds. Basically, all you're doing is that wax is making a big candle. But instead of using your whole entire candle, like putting it in the middle of your fire,
I was thinking you can probably use one of those matches, or if the lighter didn't.
So instead of using your whole entire candle, you can make a couple candles and start a couple fires with just one candle. And usually, if I'm out camping, I'll actually probably cut a chunk off of that candle and put it in there and wrap it in some paper and light it that way. Because it's a lot easier than waiting about 5 minutes for the candle flame to melt enough of that wax to dip it in something. But yeah, it works pretty well. It's extremely useful. And knowing how to start a fire, and then learning how to cook on a fire, and then using tools that you have. Because you can go out and spend plenty of money on nice equipment, but if you don't know how to use them, it's kind of pointless. So yeah, and usually if you're out camping, you're going to have to throw something on that fire, keep it going for like 10 minutes. Then you're going to be putting, sticks and stuff on there. You can get your fire burning pretty long.
So then another useful thing about the candle then is that you're not having to use up all of your lighter fluid then.
Yeah, that's what flint and steel's really good for. I'm hoping to get a new flint and steel pretty soon. Hint
to the mother, I'm sure.
Yeah, but it makes